well. We'll figure it out.
Hey guys, welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We're here for our summer series, SEC Football Media Days, Day 4. We've got 2 Stadium Rant guests on with us.
When you get to the point where you do the work consistently, you invest in yourself consistently, you make sacrifices consistently when everybody else is slacking off, when everybody's partying, when everybody's making excuses, you will dominate every single person you're up against, and your limits become non-existent.
All right, guys, welcome in. Like I said, this is College SportsCast. It is our summer series, SEC Football Media Days, and we are here to cover all the happenings of Day 4. I've got 2 guests on with me from Stadium Rant. I've got King Will and I've got Nicholas. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Thanks for having us, Brad.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome, guys. Look forward to covering today's stuff. I've also got John Hammonds on with me. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man?
So, John and I are Kentucky guys, and Kentucky went today. Are you excited to finally talk about Kentucky, John?
Yeah, I think you're gonna give me a little bit of free time to kind of break down what I think. Because I have my thoughts. let's just leave it at that. I have my thoughts.
All right, guys. So if you're on Facebook with us, we appreciate you. You can help support us by sending stars or by subscribing for 99 cents to our channel. If you do subscribe, you do get your own subscribers page and chat as well for 99 cents a month, by the way. So we would appreciate that. Like and follow. And if you are on YouTube with us, the Real Fresh channel or Stadium Rant, we appreciate you as well. Like and subscribe those as well. All right, guys, let's kind of get into the Day 4 is the final day of SEC Football Media Days. And the first one up today was Missouri coach Ellah Drinkwitz. And Eli come on this morning, and he thought he was a comedian. He thought he was Shane Gillis, I think, this morning when he come on.
I believe he did.
I'm pretty sure he was inspired by Shane Gillis last night on the ESPYs, I think, last night. I'm pretty sure.
If you didn't watch that, you need to go back and watch that.
Yeah, he was Eli was a character when it opened up today. I thought he was kind of funny at times and kind of lighthearted, cracked a few jokes, and was pretty cool up, today, I thought.
I have a question. Was he joking about the 30-team playoff proposal that he had in that conference? Because
I don't know. I don't know. It didn't sound like he was joking, but he joked about a lot of other things. So maybe he was. I'm not sure, Nicholas.
Yeah, I hope that was a joke because I'm sorry, 30 team in a playoff, way too many. Way too many.
I'm not so sure. Yeah. But, Eli's done a great job at Missouri. I think he's in year 5. And the last 2 years,
He's in year 6.
they have won. What year's he in?
6.
6. Okay.
Yep.
My bad. He's got 38 wins. I did see that. He's got 21 wins in the last 2 years at Missouri, 10-plus wins in two straight seasons, John. Eli's done a great job there at Missouri, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, he had probably 2 of the best receivers last year in Luther Burden and Theo Weiss, and they're gone now, and he's going to have to replace those 2 guys, which I think he will. The running back room was really good last year. It wasn't, 2-3 years ago, Nick, that Eli was kind of on the outs. I mean, there was a lot of talk that, Missouri was – he might not make it out of this job, and he come out. He beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl.
That saved his job. I think that saved his job.
I think that saved his job, and I think and I really liked today, Brad, when he was talking about the border war, the return of playing Kansas.
Yeah, he was really eating up the hate with Kansas. That's for sure.
Oh my God, he was basically like Kane from WWE. Embrace the hate, he was embracing the hate there.
I'm all about the rivalries. I'm all about these rivalries, Brad. These these regional rivalries. Like Louisville, Kentucky. He was talking about how he thought the rivalries are great for college athletics, especially those, like I said, regional rivalries. And I kind of like how he brought that out. And he's a goofy dude. He sort of reminds me of Shane Beamer in a way. But Shane Beamer has a different kind of quirk to him than what Eli does. And if anybody didn't watch it earlier today, I'd like you. I'll try to put it up on the board when I can. But he hollered. He hollered at Stoops today. He was like, Stoops.
Yeah.
He was aggravated.
He was a character this morning. That's for sure. Right off the bat. You talking about saving his job. He's got 38 total wins, Will, and 21 of them are in the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. The man went from trying to save his job. He was done. I remember reading the papers a few years ago. They were done with him. They wanted to wait till the end of the season to fire him. Then all of a sudden he comes up with 21 wins. After today, I'm wondering if maybe he wasn't doing a little bit of drink. I mean, his last name was Drinkwitz. I think he was inspired by the guy last night, or maybe he had some Kentucky coffee with a little bit of bourbon. I don't know what
I'm not sure.
I've been to Kentucky.
But he was definitely a character this morning. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think he can win 21 games in a 2-year span again, just not at Missouri. He needs to try to get into a better SEC job. Like, say, Hugh Freeze doesn't work out at Auburn. Maybe he can get Auburn to give him a call. But his luck at Missouri can't go on forever.
I mean, that's not a bad take. Let's dig into some of the football stuff that he finally did kind of start talking about. But John, to start with, he made it pretty clear today that the Penn State transfer, Bo Prabula, is not necessarily the starting quarterback. He kind of hyped up Sam Horn and said, wait a minute, Sam might be leading this going into fall camp. What do you think about the quarterback situation in Missouri, John?
I mean, he talked about how he planned to compete for the starting job. And if people don't know, Sam Horn was drafted in the 17th round by the Dodgers.
Yeah.
In the MLB draft. So he's going to be, competing with Prabula. I think that's how you pronounce it. A Penn State transfer. He was talking about how he's really excelled in his maturity. He was talking about Horn. He was talking about Pribula. Zollers is another one that's kind of in that back quarterback room. I liked Horn. I thought he did a good job last year. I thought he had a great year last year.
He is
Missouri
coming off Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, and I think Missouri left some wins on the table last year. There was some games where they had some wins and they kind of let them slip. But overall, I think this is a high expectation group. I think it's going to be hard to replace what they lost at receiver, though. That's my kind of takeaway, Brad, because I was, when we break into it, it's hard to replace a guy like Theo Wees and a guy like Luther Burden. It's just tough, especially in the SEC.
Yeah, those two are there like that's going to be tough for them to lose, but you can't deny their offensive line is still pretty solid. And I mean, when looking at the prospects on the O-line, I'm a big Caden Green guy. I think he's absolutely either going, unless like an injury happens, he's definitely going day 2, day 1, around that range. But it's hard to choose who has the edge here because, I mean, Horn's been in the system longer, but
he
Pribula,
has, and he's played a little bit, kind of come in and spelled and played a little bit for Drinkwitz. So, I mean, maybe he does have the edge here.
Yeah, Pribula also kind of has an edge too because he came, I think it was it against Wisconsin where he came in when Ellah got hurt and he looked pretty solid. And I think it was Wisconsin. So if I were to guess who has the edge here, I'm going to guess Sam Horn because he knows more of the playbook. He knows the system more. He's been around the environment. But it's too early to tell, because, especially with the words that were said in this conference. It sounds like there's a chance Pribula could take this. And, I mean, we'll see. It all depends on passion. All depends on who's hungrier for it. I think you said it was Horn, if I remember correctly, that got drafted to the Dodgers.
Yes, it's Sam Horn. Yes.
Exactly. He has a backup plan. Pribula, I don't know if he has a backup plan. This could be one of his last chances to, stand out. And it really depends on who's hungrier. Like, does Horn care more about baseball or football more? Or does Pribula have the hunger to, because this is his last chance to prove him? It's so hard to decide, and it's going to be more of a long-term project, but I'm very interested to see where this could go because I kind of like both players. I really do.
So, Will, let me ask you this. I mean, Pribula, puts his name in the portal and chooses Missouri. And before today, I think most everybody in the media was kind of presuming that he would be the starter. Do you think he has an edge here, or does Sam Horn have the edge after listening to Ellah today?
Well, strictly coming from somebody who played, at Trinity, big-time football program, you kind of have to consider Bo the leader. As somebody who's in the locker room, if you thought Sam Horn could lead the team, if you thought he was the guy to lead us onto the field, you don't go into the portal and go get another quarterback. Because now you're asking the guys to decide which one we believe in more. So if you really, truly thought Sam Horn was the quarterback, if you really, truly, honestly thought, and it wasn't just lip service, which is what I think it was, the Sam Horn could be the guy. You don't go get Bo. So I'll be stunned if Bo doesn't start.
Wasn't that the same kind of situation that Ole Miss last year with Jackson Dart and the quarterback from Oklahoma State? I mean,
kind of. They did that.
And he never even saw the field. So,
it
could be the same way here, but he's not going to flip his cards at the media day. I mean, any coach is not going to let really.
No, for sure. He's probably just trying to trip people up and make people think. I mean, to be honest, that could be the play here today. So we will see. I mean, fall camp starts in about 2 weeks, but I just thought of some interesting words on the quarterback position for Missouri. So, all right, guys, the next topic we're going to get to with Missouri is replacing that offensive talent. John, you've kind of already alluded to that. They are replacing some really good 5-star and special talent on the outside. So they did go out to the portal and pick up some guys. What do you think about the replacing the offensive talent that Missouri has?
Well, I mean, they replaced it with Kevin Coleman Jr. He had some really good seasons at Louisville, Mississippi State. They brought in Ahmad Harvey. He's a really good force. I think he played at ULM. He's a really good player. They got, I think, was it?
That's a joke, guys. That's a joke.
I can't remember the quarterback's or the wide receiver's name, the one that backed up Burden last year. I'm trying to think.
Was it Madison?
It might have been Madison.
It was either Madison or was it Daniel Blood?
It was Johnson. Marquise Johnson.
Okay. Yeah.
Marquise Johnson. He'll be back. Brett Norfleet will be back at tight end. That, like I said, and they got the Mississippi State transfer and Kevin Coleman. But listen, you're not going to replace a guy like Luther Burden. It's tough to lose a number one guy. It's going to be really tough to kind of have that number one receiver, but you got to make with what you got, I guess you could say.
I mean, they're also replacing Brady Cook.
Well, yeah, Brady Cook is another one that, it's tough. It's tough to replace 3 or 4 guys that, led you to the Cotton Bowl and you did all these things. Like it's really, really tough to replace those kind of guys.
Yeah. I wonder if Joshua Manning is going to be able to step up because from what I'm seeing with the depth chart here, he's like one of the guys that is like in the starting spot right now at receiver. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard for, him to stand out with all these additions. I mean, I still kind of like Hardy, the running back. I think he's going to be the big piece. But it's so hard to decide who will be the top guy.
You are right. Their offensive line does have some pieces back.
Yes. So, like I said, Caden Green's my guy. I think he's going to be really good. And like I said, the offensive – people say it's really the quarterback that's the heart. No, it's the offensive line is the heart of an offense. And Missouri has a good offensive line, and whoever starts at quarterback, they'll give him plenty of time to make decisions and to make the proper throws.
That's cool. Will, what do you think about the offense, and where do they go, and how well do you think this Missouri offense will be this year?
I do respect the offensive line, but as somebody who played for a long, long time, you can have the best offensive line in the world, but if you ain't got a quarterback, you ain't got shit.
That's fair, but you don't. But you need to protect the quarterback. That's why I'm more in the mindset of like you have to have a good offensive line to protect the quarterback. Like the quarterback is the most important position on offense, but the offensive line to me is more important.
Is it okay if I have a 30-second rant, Brad?
Sure.
I'm excited to see Coleman at Missouri, but he is the epitome of what is wrong with the portal. This is his 4th year and his 4th different team. Every time he doesn't get his way, I'll go find a new team. You want to sit me on the sideline for a game? Cool. I'll go find a new team next year. That is what is wrong with college football. Hell of talent, he's fast, but he leaves every year.
Or there's a thing called ego, and that's a problem with these kids.
Yeah,
sometimes I
mean,
they just want to get.
And a lot of times with some of these transfers, I always tell people it's all about the depth chart a lot of times, because sometimes you're like, well, I don't want to have to face this guy, so I'm just going to go find another place so I won't have to fight for a position and compete for a spot.
I'm hoping this new SCORE Act might come into play in the SCORE Act with the House and the Senate. If it does pass, it's supposed to go back to the one-time transfer rule. So we'll dig into that this season, but I am hoping that will change. All right, this is an important one, I think, for Missouri this year, John. They returned 72% of their defensive production from last year, And last year's team was a top 20 defensive team in the country, and they returned 72% of that talent.
Yeah,
John, do you think their defense can hold the ground for this team?
I think they can. I mean, they got Damon Wilson from Georgia. He was probably one of the biggest signings in the nation. He's a promising signing. Nate Johnson from App State. He was another one that they picked up. You got Zion Young on one side. You got, I think, Braylon Henderson. He's coming in from Ohio. Chris McKellen is really good. Sterling Webb outside. They got a lot of depth. And then they got Josiah Trotter. He's a really good linebacker.
And they were a top 20 defense in the country. I don't think a lot of people realize they were a top 20 team on defense.
Well, and their secondary is already good. They got Marvin Burks Jr. back, Dalen Carnell back. Then they get Jalen Catalon from UNLV. And if everybody's not heard his name, he used to play at Arkansas. Catalon. He was really good for Arkansas, and then he had some injuries kind of falter down the way, and he transferred out from Arkansas. But there's a lot of options there for their defense, Brad. I think they got a lot of depth. They got a lot of size, and they need to get in the backfield more. They did not get in the backfield a lot last year. That was one of their main issues. They didn't get to the quarterback as much. But I think with what they got coming in and some of the guys they got in the portal, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, the addition of, like you said, Damon Wilson, that absolutely improved that defense automatically. I absolutely think he's starting game one. Their secondary is still pretty solid. And like mentioned down here, with over 70% of the defensive team is back, and they were a top 20 defense, they should be able to get to that spot. But again, rushing the passer was their biggest problem last year. And if they could clean that up, then their defense could really be something again this year.
Madeline Coleman will be on Kentucky in just a few. I know that's why y'all are here.
I think Missouri's going to fall off a little bit. They'll still be a top 25, top 30 defense. They got to get to the quarterback a little bit more. And, John, do they have a ball hawking safety? You really need one if you want to have a dominant defense.
I mean, they got a few guys back there. The guys' names that I mentioned, I think they added some guys from the portal. I just think overall they just need to be better at rushing the passer. If they get that kind of down pat, I mean, Missouri is, 3-4 years ago, even, back when Will Levis was there, they had a pretty good front four. And linebacker.
They used to have a really good front four.
I think Nick Bolton was among that group. He plays for the Chiefs, I think, now. So they got some, tradition of having some really good D linemen and linebackers.
All right, so they have 21 wins in the last 2 years, John. Missouri does a really good run. Will they get to 10-plus wins again this year? And part of that, I think, is looking at their schedule. I think they have a favorable schedule for the SEC.
I think their key game is South Carolina. They dropped it last year, which was their last loss of the year. This time it's not.
They were 10-3 last year, and you said they was kind of underperformed, and they were still 10-3.
Yeah, I mean, they still underperformed a little bit. And I think they'll be good enough to beat anyone on this schedule. But how are they going to, like I said, they're missing some stars, that extra gear. Outside of the Alabama game, there might not be a lot to deal with. There's no Georgia. They don't play Texas, Ole Miss, Florida, LSU, and Tennessee are not on there. And the Alabama game,
favorable schedule.
And the Alabama game is in Columbia. How good is Auburn? We'll find out. That's a road game. They got games at Oklahoma and Arkansas. Last year's team, I think, if you read the stats, they played 7 games decided by one score and won 6 of them. So it would have to take a miracle for them to fall off, I think, with this schedule. I could see 10 wins. I could. It's all about how they
do. If they do, Nick, it'll be the first time in school history of 3 straight 10 wins.
I think it all depends though, Nick, on their star power, how they handle without Bird and Weeze, and who kind of slides into that slot.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Man, they do have a lighter schedule compared to last year, but it all depends how well they replaced Burden. I'm gonna go lean with yes because of how light their schedule is. Would it shock me if they get to 9 wins and they miss that goal to a game?
Missed that one, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, but I'll lean with yes because mainly the defensive side of the football, they got all their guys, and I still think they have a solid core on defense. The wild card is on offense at receiver and at the quarterback position. So exactly. I'm going to lean towards yes in that department, but would it shock me if they got to 9? No, but I'll go with yes.
You ready for a bold
what
take?
Do you think?
Here's a bold take based on how easy their schedule is. I'm going to put 11-1, and they'll be in Atlanta on the first Saturday in December.
Ooh,
wow, that is a pretty bold take, I have to say. But if you look at their schedule, I think 10-2 is definitely feasible.
Yeah, it's doable
for sure. Yeah. So, all right, guys, we got a couple of people on. I know that was kind of waiting. Mark Stoops was next. Went to the mic for Kentucky. He is the longest tenured coach in the SEC. He was also the longest tenured coach last year. He is in year 13 currently at the University of Kentucky. Has had a pretty good run really until last year. John, what's your take on how Stoops handled the press conference today and handled the media?
I think he handled it good. I mean, what else can he say except actually go out and prove it? I mean, just to quote what he said, I'm not cussing, but he said, this shit's hard.
Yeah, he did say this shit's
hard.
He
said. He did. 13, 14 years in Lexington, like, he's built some really good teams. And I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of people think, well, maybe he's motivated, maybe he's not. But Stoops tends to win in these kind of circumstances that he's under right now. With his back
he's
against
down,
the wall.
he seems to do a better job. When there's expectations, he seems to falter. And I've been around him and known this guy now for 13 years. So it just seems like when there's low expectations, he seems to do a better job.
He does. And I think, I think he, like I said, I think he handled himself good today. He kind of brought up the whole Vince Marrow thing. They talked about how he was critical to their success and all that. He kind of got off of it really quick. He kind of moved on.
He did, but he addressed it. I thought he did good with addressing it.
Then he talked about something. He said, I got to watch what I say because it can be taken for other things. And, he did. He said, I can't really say what I want to say because it goes from one end to the other. So
yeah,
I thought he handled himself good today.
All right, Nick, what do you think about when Stoops went to the mic today?
You kind of took the words out of my mouth when it comes to the expectations. My big takeaway from him was what he said with the college playoff format. I'm trying to pull the quote here. Like him basically admitting that he hasn't analyzed the college format model.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
I don't know.
Why? That's like one of the worst things he could do. You going up to the podium and saying, I haven't studied the format of the playoffs.
To be honest with you, I really don't think he cares. He just wants to blow the whistle and he likes the grass, I think is what he likes. I'm pretty sure.
Probably, but
yeah.
Come on, you can't be saying that. You know what I mean? You can't be. That's just asking for trouble. Oh my goodness!
Especially in your 13th year, right?
Yeah, like you think for as long of a coach as he's been, he's a really good coach. Well, when you don't give him expectations,
Yeah.
you thought he would be more media trained, but he's not.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Will, what's your take on Mark Stoops and how he handled himself and the job that the mountain basically that he's got to climb this year?
Well, I have mixed feelings on Stoops because, as you know, Brad, I got my undergrad at Louisville. I got my master's degree at Kentucky. I was at Kentucky in 06 and 07 when Brooks was the head coach.
Yeah.
So we had some success back then. On the Louisville side, Mark Stoops terrifies me. He owns that rivalry. He looks at Louisville. He's not afraid of them at all. But having met the guy's a great guy. I think he is media trained. But Mark Stoops isn't the guy that's going to go up there and spout off a whole bunch of BS just because it's what the media wants to hear. That's not Mark Stoops' guy. And Brad and John got to be around him, whether it's in front of the camera, the locker room, at a high school football game, on the practice field. He's going to tell you what it is, what it isn't, is what it's not.
He comes across as very real to me, and I kind of like that in a coach. I'm more of like a little shocked he said that on live broadcasting, but he is kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to beat down the guy. He seems like a nice guy. It's just like,
he's a hell of a nice guy.
I bet.
He definitely is.
I bet.
And I would argue he's one of the 3 most successful football coaches in the history of UK football.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That's not a bad take.
And I actually think he's going to be more successful at Kentucky this year. Because, Brad, I'm sure you and John know, this wasn't the first offseason that Brom and Merrill had talked. I'm pretty sure they had talked both of the 2 off seasons he's been there. So part of me has to wonder if Vince didn't already have a foot out the door.
This is very true because if you look at his recruiting over the last year, Vince really has kind of fallen off in his recruiting, to be quite honest with you, at Kentucky. Before that, he was kind of killing it. But if you look over the last year, he really hadn't done too much, to be honest with you. And I'll be honest
to Jeff Brom.
Yeah. All right. We are going to move on to our next topic. Our second topic for all these teams have been about the quarterbacks. John, they brought in Zach Calzada, who I believe will be the starter here. But Cutter Boley has talent. He came in last year. And Cutter Boley was a 4-star kid. He has some talent here. And Stoops said today he is the future of the program, and he doesn't know if that'll be at week 3 this year or if that'll be next season or when that will be. But Cutter Boley is the future, and Zach Calzada was brought in for experience. Not only that, but SEC experience and SEC wins under his belt. So, John, what do you think about this quarterback battle?
I think Calzada will be better than people think. And, a lot of the issues last year was not a lot on Boley. The offense, I don't want to get in on this, but the offense was historically bad last year.
Well, that's how bad the offense was. It's our next topic, to be honest with you.
But you don't have to be explosive, I don't think. But you got to hit some passes. You got to be good on third downs. There was not a lot of room for the ground game. The pass game was non-existent. Like I said, the O-line was not great. Now they went through the portal. They got some guys on the offensive line. They got
some wide receivers. I mean, they got in Kendrick Law from Alabama.
They got the running back from Nebraska, Dante Dowdell. Then they got Jason Patterson, who will be one of the top backs in the backfield, which he kind of goes outside of the tackle box, and he's usually a guy they throw outside the backfield. Zach Calzada, I'm going to say this: he beat Alabama.
He did.
He beat Nick Saban, Alabama.
And a lot of people don't realize that this quarterback has been in there. He's been in the fire. He knows what he's doing. He saw enough time at A&M to be ready for this moment. But he has not played in division like that top tier in 2 years.
You know what I like? He's been forgotten and kind of wrote off, and he has that chip on his shoulder, and he wanted to make it back to the SEC.
He's big. He's got the arm, but there's a lot of pressure. I think it's either Calzada or bust, to be honest, Brad. I mean, if you don't have a first couple of good games, do you kind of go to Bowley and say, hey, lead us to the promised land and help us get back to where we need to be? Because
you're our future. Yeah, I think that's what will happen if Calzada is just a bust after like 3 games or so.
I'm a
think
huge
Kentucky-
Bowley fan.
See, here's my biggest issue. Getting first down is a major struggle. They wasn't accurate. And I just think they need to hit some passes down the edge to at least, move the clock, hit midfield. I think the first past midfield we'll get next year, right out of the gate, I think we'll see a lot of fans kind of clap and cheer because we didn't see a lot of it last year. We did not.
Yeah.
I'm going to go bold here. I think both of these guys play 50-50. I think they'll play 50% of the season. And that's mainly because if the season goes haywire in the first half. I mean, I think Calzada will get the start. If things go haywire, I think you got to pass it to the young kid because, like I said, Calzada I think he's a graduate, if I remember correctly. He's either graduate or
he's
senior.
actually a year 7 guy.
Year 7 guy, yeah.
Stenson Bennett wants his his card back.
Yeah.
But I think the plan needs to be start Calzada and have him help guide Bowley a little bit because Bowley's still
he will turn 25 in November.
Jesus, oh my God. Put him in the UFL.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. You have to give the start to Calzada with the experience because Bowley, you'll have him for a few years at least. He's going to be the guy.
You see, here's where I look at the quarterback position for Kentucky, and I wonder where their mind frame is at. They got the kid from California, but every year they get a guy like a freshman kind of develop. They go into the portal and find a quarterback.
That is true.
And I just wonder, is it because they can't develop one, or is it they want to have extra insurance policy security?
I think that's what it is.
I think it's a mixture of things. It could be like used as a backup plan, but let's be honest. Sometimes when you develop a player, it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. And jobs could be on the line here. I don't think Kentucky, there'll be jobs on the line.
I'll mention that when we finish the ending. I kind of wanted to. That was my rant.
Rant
for Brad.
That's my bad. I didn't know you were going to go in that direction. I was just trying to play the good political route of I don't want to say this guy's fired. And I'm dealing with 2 Kentucky boys here, so I'm pretty sure if I say something bad, I'm going to get kicked off the live stream.
Oh, no, you're good, man.
As somebody who's seen Bowley all 4 years in high school, Bowley is special. Bowley has potential to be special.
He's got the tools, yes.
The problem is he's a Kentucky country boy. No offense.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing Trinity and St. X every single week.
Right.
So he has some growing up to do.
Yeah, the talent upgrade is a little different. So, yeah.
But he has potential to be special. But, John, you forgot the most important returning piece on the Kentucky offensive side. For the first time in years.
Yes.
They have the same offensive coordinator.
That's my next, and that's actually my next topic, Will. That leads me right into my next topic. So my next topic is Bush Hamdan. That's my next topic. So he is returning. Stoops talked about, how great it was to have a returning offensive coordinator because we literally Kentucky has not had that in 5 or 6 years. It has been a long
for that.
Anthony, I agree with you. That had a lot to do with it.
Now,
I'll mention that.
John, Kentucky's offense last year under Bush Hamdan, in all fairness, was about as sorry as you could possibly have in Power 4 football.
Yeah, I mean, they beat Ole Miss in Oxford, which kept Ole Miss out of the playoff. After that, the wheels came
They
tumbling
averaged
down.
13 points a game in SEC play. I don't know if y'all heard me, but 13 points a game in SEC play.
Not good.
Yeah.
Well, the issue was too, you had I'm just going to say it. You had Anthony Wyman brought it up. You had some issues in the locker room. You had
And some of those issues are gone, Wireman. I will fully admit that. And I'm glad to see Wireman and Madeline and Coleman, a few Kentucky guys.
I believe Myra was part of those issues. But
will a second year, and you got to remember, Brock Vandergraff was not Bush Hamdan's guy.
No.
He was brought in by Liam Cohen. And then Liam left.
Yeah, and now I think this year he has his guys that he wants in his system, or at least we hope.
Yeah.
So the offense, hopefully for Kentucky, will get a lot better with his guys that he prefers in this role. If not, then I wouldn't be surprised if Hamdan's out of a job at the end of the year.
I think too, the offense will have a little bit more help with the defense this year, because I feel like they've done some really good moves. They got Sam Green from USC. I think he's going to be a big help as the hybrid outside linebacker. Marquise Grace, Brad talks high about him, the Grace kid.
David Gusta is pretty solid too.
David Gusta is really good from Washington State.
He's a guy I have my eye on, because I've been looking at. I sometimes look at prospects.
Y'all are digging into my next topic.
And I think, I'm sorry, man. Well, I'm just excited with with this. That kid's going to be a really good boost to their.
I will say though, I wouldn't be shocked if the secondary is your better group of the bunch, with Jordan Lovett and
let's talk about the offense for a minute, guys.
I don't want to get into the defense.
You got running
backs. I got a lot to say.
You've got what I think is going to be a pretty good receiving core with Macklin and Kendrick Law and a few others.
I think Kendrick Law will be your number one target.
Yes,
with,
he will.
With Dane Key being gone. I think he's your number one guy, and then you lost Brown, but you got back. What was the kid that transferred out and came back?
Macklin.
Hartley Gilmore,
Macklin, right?
He'll be in there too.
Oh yeah, Hartley Gilmore come back too.
Yeah, he's coming back, and then you'll have Macklin will be back, which I thought Macklin was the most consistent. They just couldn't give him the ball.
Yeah,
Caddis I think is coming back too, if I remember.
Because me and Brad would watch games and said, "Why won't they get Macklin the ball and put it in his hands?" I don't.
They went games. They went 4 or 5 games and never even threw him through his direction. Not one time. It was insane.
So I have a question for John.
No idea.
And I'm sorry if it takes one of your next topics, and it also if it takes your rant, John. So we all know, everybody who lives here in the Midwest knows there's a ton of pressure on Stoops. He's excited to have Hamdan back. So is he going to ride his offensive coordinator either to an extension or to the unemployment line?
Maybe. You know, it's not out of the question, to be honest with you, Will. Not at all. All right, let's go to my next topic, and that is the defense. And John, do you think this defense will be better than expectations? Because right now, Kentucky's expectation seems to be really low.
I think they will. I mean, they, like I said, they got David Gusta, Jordan Lovett in the secondary. I think your major key in this whole defense is Alex Safari. I think he's going to play a huge role. And he was at media days today. He talked real highly of the team and how they're excited about the season. And I think it's going to be – I think you're going to be surprised at what Kentucky does. And I'm not really ever. You can ask Brad. I'm not never high on Kentucky football. I sometimes I never give them.
But expectations are low. I mean, people are saying this team's going to go 2-10.
No way.
I do not think this
I
team's
think it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be a 10-win team, Brad, but I think they'll get back to their winning ways, and they'll probably win a game or two that they're not supposed to.
I have a question for you guys. Who's going to replace Maxwell Hairston at the top cornerback role? Because that's a big loss.
It is. But to be fair, if you go back to last 3 years, Kentucky's had cornerbacks taken in the draft, and they have replaced them pretty well.
Brad White knows how to make corners.
I think you got to look at Hardaway. I think Nichols is back.
You got DJ Waller that transferred from Michigan.
That's a guy I was looking at. Another guy I could maybe potentially see is I don't know if Quashit Scott maybe. He could probably take.
Yeah.
Well, I think you look up front and you got Grace, Justa. I think Will Saunders is going to have a great year. I'm pretty sure
Waller might be the top cornerback, maybe, on this team.
I think so too.
Well, and you can't forget about Cam Olds, the transfer from was it Toledo?
I think it was Toledo.
Maybe Kent State.
Yeah.
He was a big piece in the portal. And Rayner comes back. A lot of people's forgotten about him.
I can't believe I forgot about him.
Yeah.
I still think the best part of this defense is this defense.
Oh, and Josiah Hayes is back after an injury.
Yeah,
how does he respond? I think their front four and their linebacker crew is going to be pretty decent.
Their defense.
This defense could be a lot better than people expect. Will, don't you think?
Oh, it's definitely going to be better than people expect. And there's no way they go 2-10. If they go 2-10, Stoops doesn't survive October. I personally have Kentucky going 7-5.
I mean, and I think Kentucky fans after last year will be okay with 7-5.
And can we get to the last where I can do my rant?
Well, that's where we're heading right now, man.
Where's my popcorn? Where's my popcorn?
Will Stoops get Kentucky back to bowl eligible? And I put it this way because today he himself talked about his 8-year streak of being bowl eligible a couple of different times, and it was broken last year by going 4-8. So there you go. I set you up, John.
I'll say this. I think they'll get to a bowl game. And I think 7 wins will keep his job. But I'll also say this. If they have another year like they did last year, I don't think Stoops comes back. I think if early in the year they lose to Ole Miss, they go on the road to South Carolina and lose pretty bad. They lose to Florida. They get beat by Tennessee at home, and they start seeing losses pile up. I think you're going to see the fan base turn again like they did a year ago, and I think the pressure will get to Stoops, and I think he'll walk out.
Here's what
I
I
fully
can
agree
say.
with that.
If they get off to say a 2-4, 2-5 start, I think Barnhart has to make the move. If for no other reason to be the first person to call John Summerall and ask him if he wants to come home.
Well, and I'll say this too.
Absolutely. That's more than likely going to be the first call.
I read this yesterday. Well, it might have been about early June. The ticket sales, the season ticket sales is really down compared to the last
year. Yeah,
it's very down.
But to be fair, it had risen every year up to last year.
Well, and to be fair to you, Brad, it's expensive to go to a football game as well. If you got kids, you got parking, food. I mean, some people don't even go to games anymore just because of all that. We've kind of declined to go to only 2 games a year, which I'm going to the Ole Miss game this year. That's another game that I would love to see us win right out of the gate at home. Get 2-0 and have an opportunity, early right there. But I just think,
and Lane's replacing a lot, so it's not out of the question.
No, it's not. Lane's replacing a lot. So, but like I said, Will, if Stoops starts out 2-5, 2-4, 2-6, something of that regard, and he starts piling up losses, I think.
Wireman, that's a little bit of exaggeration, I think, but
just a little bit, buddy.
3,200. Oh my God, that's a lot of do-re-mi.
I honestly think they pulled the plug on Stoops. I do. I think he don't last, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they win 7 games. I kind of think they get back to the winning ways, and I think they get back to their culture kind of football that they've known to
physical downhill running,
and open up the pass game.
Now, can I ask you guys a question before we move to the next school?
Yep.
Say he goes 7-5, and somewhere calls Mitch Barnhart, and he goes, "I sure would love that job." Would Mitch make the change?
I think he'll wait another year and see. Listen, Stoops has been at Kentucky 13 years. The truth of the story is he's on the downhill side. He's probably not going to be at Kentucky too awful much longer anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, another 5 years max or something is about all. You know what I mean? Like, even if things go great, he's probably
I'll go with this. You better beat Toledo first game.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Would you say that game is a must win?
I think it is.
Toledo, absolutely. You can't lose Toledo at home.
You better dominate Toledo.
And I'll be honest with you, Toledo is not a bad program.
No, they're a good program.
They've had some really good seasons in the MAC, and that's one game you can't sleepwalk and do like they did. What was it, a couple years ago? Was it Ohio or I think Akron?
Yeah,
they let them hang around to the fourth quarter. Like you just simply cannot. You got to put them away early to give the fan base a little bit of juice.
We got 2 more teams to go through. We've kind of taken a little bit on these, but we are going to get to Arkansas. I did see that we have an Arkansas fan on with us, so I want to get to Arkansas and Sam Pittman. I will say this, Will, I'll start with you on this one. I think Sam Pittman is impressive, man. I mean, just as a football coach, a human being, the way he talks, the realness he talks with. I mean, I just like the dude, man. What do you think?
I love the dude. Sam Pittman's the kind of guy, if you play for him, you would walk through a wall for him because he's real, he's authentic, he's funny, he works hard, he says the right thing. He takes accountability. I've never once heard him throw a player under the bus. He's never said it was my quarterback's fault or it was his fault. He's always said it was my fault. I like the guy. I think he's at a perfect spot. And, Derek, I do think they can go 10-2. I don't think they will, but they could.
I think he was the
So we got an Arkansas fan on with us. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I think, too, he's the 3rd longest tenured coach in the SEC.
He is.
With his
him and
Kirby Smart.
Drinkwitz.
No, he's tied with Eli Drinkwitz. And Lane Kiffin for 3rd. Yeah. Arkansas needs to get back to what they was doing, and that smash mouth football. Stop fumbling the football. That was a lot of their issues. There was a lot of issues last year for Arkansas. They've
not tried to do that or something.
They've really not found any sort of consistency, and it seems like he's going under the tank. They lost what was it? Was it Oklahoma State last year? But they did beat Tennessee. They won at home against Tennessee, which was a big win for them.
Whoop Pig Suey.
I like anybody that beats Tennessee.
Woo pig suey on that one.
It's the sixth season in the Pittman era, Brad, and the record might not be great. The
He's
schedule
30 and 31 as a head coach, right
it's
at
time
500.
It's time to do a lot. It's time to do a lot more to hang around.
Nick is impressive as a human being, as a coach. Just to hear him talk.
Very. I think he comes across the best out of all the coaches that's spoken day four. Like this guy was like I'm not an Arkansas fan, but he brought motivation to me. Like that was how good he was on the conference.
And he's real. You know what I mean? Approachable.
Yeah. I just wonder though, because the receiver, what's his face, who they said is not going to play next year for them. That's a big loss for them. Because I think he was going to be I thought he was going to be like the next big player for them.
I mean, but they did get Omega Blake from Charlotte. I think he's probably the best of the bunch. And they got Raylan Sharp from Fresno State. Then they got Cam Shanks from UAB, which he had, I think, 62 receptions last year.
I think so too.
They went through the portal and they done some work. Me and Brad talked about this last night. We'll get
to that. Let me run through the topics, and the portal is one of them. So,
yeah, I want to finish one thing with Pittman before we move on to this.
Okay.
I think that with how great of a motivational speaker he was and how great he was during the medium day, I think he'll definitely motivate players to step up on offense and defense.
I can see it definitely, and you can see it on game days with him too, on the sideline.
I was about to mention that. I really like Sam Pittman as a coach. I really do.
Yeah,
they got a real one there.
John Taylon Green, Taylon Green, he's a lot bigger than what I thought. Everybody was talking about his size today because he was there at media days as well. And just talking about his size, I mean, there was a tight end that he was standing beside, and Taylor was bigger than the tight end. I mean, honestly, he's got great size for a quarterback.
I think he's 6'7", right? He's either 6'7" or 6'6".
Yeah, I think it's 6'6". He's a senior. Yeah. He's a dual threat. His numbers was pretty good last year. He's got some untapped potential there.
When healthy, he was in and out of health. Yeah.
Yeah. I think their backup is KJ Johnson, if I remember correctly. But
yes, KJ Jackson.
Yeah, Johnson. What am I doing? I apologize. But Taylon Green, they got something on him. A little on the raw side, but they got something in this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke really high about this team. I like Pittman. I do. I think he's going to have to prove it this year. And like I said, the schedule is brutal. But I think there's some wins on that schedule, and I think they got some better talent. And he had mentioned a little bit about the NIL, said they had some more resources to kind of move around and finances to kind of build their roster. And I kind of like that with their roster construction through the portal. They lost 25 scholarship players to the portal.
Yeah.
25.
Will, what do you think about Taylon Green?
I think he's impressive. He has some of he's not as talented as, but he has some of the same skill set as Lamar Jackson. Who is Lamar Jackson's college coach? Bobby Petrino. Who's the Arkansas offensive coordinator? Bobby Petrino. So he has the perfect offensive coordinator for the skill set that he has. He's a 6'6", 235-pound quarterback. Solid arm. He can run the ball. Bobby Petrino knows how to use a quarterback who can run.
I agree with that. Speaking of offense, John, we can kind of dig into the Bobby Petrino side of this as well. And they did bring in a lot to the transfer portal. That is my next topic. But this one, just simply they are bringing 65% of their offensive production back from this team. A whole lot of that is probably Taylon Green, to be honest with you. But, what do you expect from this offense with Bobby Petrino?
I love Bobby Petrino. I think Bob Petrino is probably one of the best offensive minds in college football. He knows how to throw it around, sling it around. When Kentucky was actually looking for an offensive coordinator, I wouldn't have minded it, honestly. But a lot of the fans kind of charged and bullhorned about it, and it was a lot of it had to do with what his situation happened at Arkansas before. But hey, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, they get in messes, and I think he's forgiven for a lot of what he's done.
He didn't just get in a mess.
I mean,
I'm sorry. I'm not going to go there.
You get what I'm saying. But with Quentin Jackson, he's really good. Braylon Russell, Mike Washington Jr., they're going to have some deep guys in this backfield in this offense that, can make some noise. And they did last year. I mean, they beat Tennessee. They won some games that I thought that they really looked outmatched, and they won a few of those. So the talent is there. And the one thing I love about Pittman, and I never really did say this, is when he's standing you watch him, like they'll kind of phase to him on SEC Nation. He's always clapping on the sidelines, and he's always wanting to be there and be happy for his team. And you don't find that from a coach very often. You always see him talking to other, and he's just walking the field. He's happy for his opportunity to be a head coach.
Absolutely. And, he's appreciative of it.
And Jackson is just probably as talented as Green is. Derek brought up a good point.
Okay, Nick, offensive, with Bobby Petrino, what do you think?
I trust Bobby Petrino. He's a great offensive mind. I'm pretty sure any football team except for the Atlanta Falcons would welcome Bobby Petrino onto their team.
I was surprised that Arkansas brought him back, to be honest with you. But they did
too. I did too. But it's kind of worked out for them because
he can stay away from Louisville. We don't even want him in the city.
Oh God. Yeah. You know what? Because of that comment, Will, how about this? Next year, you basically recruit him. How about that?
Yeah.
You want him?
Hey, Will, he is a good offensive coach. You have to admit that.
Yeah,
he's a hell of an offensive coach. I just don't trust him in a head coach's role. So as long as
I agree with that. I agree with that. Like nowadays,
do you think we will see an uptick in the offense in year 2 under Petrino, Will?
Yes, absolutely.
I think he will.
Yeah. Okay. And I really like that their running back, Braylon Russell. I think that kid is really sneakily underrated.
Yep. A good back, a good returner. That's another returner, offensive production guy there that they're bringing back as well.
But the issue is it's a schedule from the pits of hell.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know.
Oh, it's bad.
I was about to say that their schedule is yikes.
It's not good. Yeah,
it's not good.
It's not good. All right, John, you was talking about their work in the transfer portal. They lost a ton, but they also replenished a great amount on this team. There's a lot of new players after losing 25 players to the portal.
That's kind of what I want to go with, like with their defense. It was, historically bad by Arkansas standards. Normally, Arkansas has a pretty good defense. I think they allowed 25 points a game last year. They have to replace 5 of their top 7 tacklers.
I still think their offense is better than their defense.
I think losing Landon Jackson is going to hurt.
Oh, it absolutely. You could still see the bleeding on that defense. Like he was the number one key for them is they was ranked 13th in the SEC in quarterback pressure. Yeah, it's not going to win you. It's not going to win you many games. Who's going to be the guy that I don't know if you could replace Landon Jackson, but who's going to be that guy for them?
I don't know. I mean, I know that they brought in a bunch of guys. I could not go through and tell you. You guys might have it pulled up. I do not, since I'm running the show and doing things. But
I know they got Bridges. He's in the middle. I'm trying to think.
Selman Bridges. I see
Yeah,
here.
and then there was another one. I think
I'm gonna be
Sorey's
honest
back.
with you, Derek. I cannot go that deep to a fourth string running back. I'm sorry.
Xavier Sorey, Stephen Dix. I think they
Fourth
get
string running back. Oh my
Yeah.
god!
I can't go that deep on the roster, man. I'm sorry.
If
They
you're
do
seeing a
get
lot of
take-
him, you're in trouble.
Rodney
Yeah.
Hill. Are you talking about Rodney Hill, Derek? That's
Rodney
my-
Hill. Yeah,
I'm not sure.
AJ
man.
Green. AJ Green is another piece to watch in that backfield.
The other AJ Green.
Yeah, there's another AJ Green. Yeah.
Oh my god! How many AJ Greens?
And I
are
think
there?
the big thing for Arkansas is they get Cam Ball back. He was projected to be a top NFL pick, and he decided to come back to school. And I think he'll be a big plus in that front line.
Will give a word or two here about their transfer portal work and replacing a bunch of guys.
They did about as good as Arkansas was going to be able to do in the portal. You just got to figure out what pieces go where. Derek, I was just messing with you, but for real, if you see too much of the fourth string running back, you're either blowing people out or you're blowing people out. So hopefully you're blowing people out.
Or you play special teams.
Yeah. There might be a special teams guy or something for sure. Or you've got injuries and you don't want injuries. So,
The biggest issue with this whole situation is, he's trying to rebuild all this and the schedule that he has.
Oh, it's brutal.
all right. So let's get to that. You guys can put in schedule in this one and talk about that if you want to. But Sam Pittman did get them to bowl eligibility last year. I think they won 7. They were 7-6, I believe.
They had a light schedule last year. This year, their schedule's
their stretch
really
from September 13th to October 18th is about as brutal as you can get.
No chance they go bowling.
They play Ole Miss,
lost.
Memphis, Notre Dame, Tennessee, A&M, and Auburn.
You might lose all those games. That's not a good schedule. Oh my god!
To be fair, A&M's in Fayetteville and Notre Dame's in Fayetteville.
It's Notre
Dame.
Dame.
You get Oxford on the road.
This is the first time that Arkansas has ever played Notre Dame, by the way.
And they will not beat Notre Dame because they're my team, and I do not like it when Notre Dame loses again.
Well, then you're not going to enjoy this year very much.
Unfortunately, I know, and I'm prepared with that. I'm prepared with that.
All right. So, John, bowl eligibility or not? What do you say, yes or no?
Well, Vegas has their win total at 5.5.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
I might hit the under on that.
That looks at, their schedule. The question remains is can they compete with these big schools? Can they beat the teams they're supposed to beat while beating one or two teams like we talked about with Kentucky? Like, can they steal a game or two? Close games against ranked teams and such in critical games could show some progress with Pittman.
Listen, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to say no. I think they miss it by 1. I'm going to give them 5.
I think I'm with you, Brett. I think the schedule is tough. Now, I will say I think they win a game they're not supposed to, whether that's a Tennessee, which that's in Knoxville, but an A&M. I just think it's going to be tough trying to have that rebuild project like he's trying to do with the portal and kind of rebuild what Arkansas is wanting. And with the schedule that they got out, it's just tough.
I mean, you never know, Nick. Bobby Petrino may help them pull out a win or two.
Maybe. I mean, but my God, that schedule's so rough. I just don't see how they get over 5.5 wins with that early of a schedule. I'm going to lean towards
likely
no.
6 wins. 6 wins probably keeps his job.
Probably.
But I think so.
I'm gonna go with under 5.5. It's just too rough early in the season. Could they get to 6? Maybe, but
Will,
I do
what
want
do you think?
I do want to address one thing, by the way. Cam Settles, he is a freshman. He's got
Yep.
potential, Derek. So that is a name to watch if they are in a really bad spot and they want to play the young kids.
I just don't know all the roster stuff with Arkansas, so.
Yeah, but I did hear his name a little.
I will say this. I told Brad this the other night. If you play college football 26, you'll find out depth charts really quick.
Eric, I do appreciate you being with us tonight, talking about Arkansas and chiming in. So just want to say I appreciate that. Will, what do you say? Did they go bowling?
No.
Well, unfortunately, we may have hurt Derek's feelings, but I am happy that you stopped by. And stop by again. We will talk about Arkansas down the road this season here at College SportsCast.
Hey, on the bright side, with what you said, if they could go bowling, they could. They just need to go find a bowling alley, and I mean, you're pretty set there.
All right, we are going to get to Texas A&M. Texas A&M was the 16th and last team to take the mic at SEC Media Days. And Elko is kind of quiet, reserved, straight to the point.
You're straight to the point. You're straight to the point with
you know what I find amazing, Brad? That A&M has had one double-digit win season since 1998.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's crazy to think about.
With the teams they've had.
I mean, I thought Sumlin was probably their best darn coach, and they fired him. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, John, Elko got them 7-1 last year. They had a chance, and then they kind of fell apart at the end. They wound up 8-5. They went 1-4 in their last 5 games. So, he's only in his second year. I thought Elko he's just kind of stoic to me.
And I think he's the right guy. I think he's the right guy to build a team around. He's got the pieces in place to build. He got a few transfers in key spots. They don't have to play Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, or Ole Miss.
That's helpful.
I got a good question for you guys.
That's helpful.
I got a question for you. Do you think he'll pull off one of the greatest transfers of all time of Shamar Stewart transferring from the NFL Cincinnati Bengals to Texas A&M? Or is that just not happening?
He can't play. It's against NCAA rules.
He's got to be ineligible. I mean, he can. He is eligible for the draft if he doesn't sign again next year.
He just won't play for them, right?
Here's what I say.
He can't.
Here's what I say about the whole. We'll kind of go back to Elko. It was his first year. They won 8 games for the first time in 3 years. Everybody wants to pinpoint the USC loss, the Texas loss, but you can't really point at those games because the bowl game nowadays are just kind of blah. Some of the bowl games are just – they're not really bowl games anymore. And there was a lot of guys sitting out. USC had some guys sitting out. They had a chance, and honestly, Brad, they had a chance to play for the SEC title.
They did when they were sitting at 7-1. They did,
and they couldn't do anything against Texas. But I think they're going to win a lot more. I think Elko's a good coach, and I think he's going to bring stability back to what they've been missing in Aggie land.
All right, Will, I'll give you the floor to talk a little bit about Mike Elko.
I love Mike Elko as an ACC guy, which I believe we're going to talk about another week. Anybody who can have back-to-back winning seasons at Duke.
At Duke, yeah.
Not Duke basketball, not Duke baseball, softball, Duke football.
Yeah,
Anybody who can do that. He also, I believe, spent some time as a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame under Brian Kelly. He needs to wash A&M. He needs to wash that stench of Brian Kelly off of him. But I like Mike Elko. He's a quiet guy. He's the right guy. They just got to be patient. Jimbo's problem was they gave him, what was it, $100 million contract?
Yeah.
He was never going to live up to that. No coach is going to live up to that unless you're Nick Saban or Kirby Smart. But I do think he'll get Texas A&M moving in the right direction. And Aggie Field is hard to play in.
Yeah, Kyle Field is definitely a tough place to play. A&M, continue with them. John, their quarterback, Marcel Reed,
he's a playmaker.
He was also at SEC Media Days today and was kind of impressive, I thought, at SEC Media Days today. What do you think about Marcel Reed?
I think he's a playmaker. I think he's going to be the guy for the next few years. After taking over early last year, he hit on 61% of his passes last year. He didn't really have a lot of picks. He's a dangerous runner when he gets loose. And I like the fact that he's got some weapons. There's some weapons on this team.
KC, the one that stands out to me is KC
Concepcion.
Concepcion.
That
kid is he's really good.
Well, and they got Nabari Black, the Texas transfer, the tight end. Then they got the kid from Mississippi State, Mario Craver, Terry Bussey. I think he's a holdover from last year.
And they still have Le'Veon Moss too. He could definitely do something in the backfield as well.
Yeah, I mean they got a really good mixture of talent in the backfield and especially wide receiver.
Even in their offensive line.
What do you expect from Marcel Reed this year, Nick?
A lot of wins because Texas A&M is going to lose this could be one of their last years to really make a full impact because I know that they're going to be losing a lot of players next year for the draft. I think KC is going to declare after this year. They're off their offensive line. Who's the tackle? Reed Adams, I think his name is. That's a guy who you guys got to watch tape. He could declare. You could maybe throw in what's his face? Yeah. There's a lot of guys there that could be declaring next year. So,
and I will say, Reuben Owens is another guy that needs to get healthy too.
Yep, that's another one.
He only played in 2 games last year. And then they got Amari Daniels. He took over when Moss got hurt. So they got some weapons to make some noise this year. And with the schedule that they got.
And they have Deion Sanders' kid, EJ.
They do.
No, not Deion Sanders' kid. I meant Emmett Smith's kid. Yeah. What is wrong with me? Emmett Smith's kid.
No, it's not Deion Sanders. It's Emmett Smith.
Emmett Smith's. Yes, exactly. That's why I'm crazy.
Emmett Smith's kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My bad on that. I had a brain fart there.
Will, I want to ask you about Marcel Reed. What sophomore season, he has beefed up a little bit this year to kind of take a little bit more punishment because he was a true freshman last year in the SEC.
It's hard to be a true freshman quarterback in the SEC and put up very good stats. The SEC is by far the best college football conference, as we talked about the other day. I'm glad to see him bulk up a little bit. You mentioned the kid I personally can't stand, John. Reuben Owens. Yeah, I'm coming to Louisville. I'm coming to Louisville. I'm coming to Louisville. I'm coming to Louisville. Give me my NIL check. Oh, wait, I forgot how to get to Louisville. I ended up at Texas A&M. He's going to have a big year if he's going to produce.
Suddenly, I'm a Reuben Owens fan.
Hey, maybe he could go to Louisville next year, Will.
We don't want him now.
Suddenly, I have just become a Reuben Owens fan.
What would be funny?
We built our entire recruiting class around Reuben Owens, and he flipped.
I'm just messing with you, Will.
Does Texas A&M face Louisville this year? I forget. No, they don't. You know what would be funny?
We only play one SEC school.
You know what would have been so funny? If Louisville faced Texas A&M and Owens basically had "I'm coming to Louisville" on his undershirt.
It would be funny if Louisville played Texas A&M because I don't know who Louisville is.
Louisville? Yeah.
Oh, Louisville, same thing. Stop it, Will.
All right, so I am going to get to the next one. I had to have a little bit of fun with Will there for a second. But this is a big one. Offense, defense, special teams, the entire total team production, they have 72% of their team production back. And that is 7th in the entire FBS.
Yeah,
and their only big loss was, in my opinion, is Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, John, they have a ton of team production back. I'm talking about all 3 phases.
They do. I mean, they bring back quite a bit, and especially, the running back room. They bring back Torian York at linebacker.
Their entire offensive line is back.
They get Will Lee, Scooby Williams, a senior linebacker, Cassius Howell. If they're going to go for it, this is the year to do it. And I'll kind of bring out the schedule prediction, and I'll just get mine out of the way, how I feel about this. They set them up at 8, but I think there's some wins there that could maybe get to the college football playoff. And I say that because they play at Notre Dame, at LSU, at Missouri, and at Texas, okay? And if they win 3 of those 4, they're probably going, because their schedule is I think they play at Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, South Carolina, and at Texas. There's no really surefire likely losses here.
John, you're kind of jumping the gun here on me, but
no, I know. I was just kind of giving my take on it, because when we do, I mean, I think this team's healthy enough. If they stay healthy and Moss stays healthy, I think this will be a huge step forward for Mike Elko and company.
So, Nick, they returned 7 starters on offense, 8 starters on defense. So, I mean, this team returns a ton of talent from last year. And like I said, that is 7th in all of college football.
Yeah.
As far as
really good
for them.
Really good. And like I said, the only player that was the big loss was Shamar Stewart. And I could really see them having a really good season this year. And they have the tools to make it work.
Yep. Will, what do you think about, them being 7th in all of college football with production? I mean, that's a good foundation, at least.
Well, I think they have a good foundation as long as they can get some solid quarterback play, and Ruben Owens can, I guess, produce. I think they have a chance to make the college football playoffs. I don't think they will. I do think the SEC will get 4 teams in. I just don't think they'll be one of them.
All right, real quickly, portal additions. Y'all have already mentioned him. The biggest one for me was Concepcion from NC State. I think he is a monster of a get out of the transfer portal and as an addition for this offense. And Marcel Reed. John, is there any other portal additions that you want to mention here?
Not that I've.
TJ Searcy, maybe?
Seriously, maybe.
Yeah.
Jordan Shaw, I guess, if you want to mention him in the secondary, he could be a solid depth piece.
Concepcion, though,
Concepcion is the guy.
Elite. He's elite.
Oh, as a Louisville fan, he gets me nightmares. I'm glad he's
elite.
Elite. Enjoy the SEC.
If he has a strong season this year and declares for the draft, it would not shock me if he goes round 1.
Right. I mean, he really is that good. All right, John, you've kind of already alluded to this. They did get to 8 wins for the first time in like 3 or 4 years last year. They finished 8-5 in Elko's first season. Can they build off of that? You kind of already alluded that you think they possibly could make the college football playoff. Do you want to add anything to that?
I'm good.
You good? All right, Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, John pretty much said what I wanted to say, but I think that not only will they build off of that season, but I think they'll have more wins than they did the last season. I could see them going with double-digit wins. I have them at 10 wins.
10-2 could possibly get them in the playoff, Will.
I have them at 9-3. They could get to 10-2 though. But
Yeah.
like I said, I think the SEC will have 4 teams in the playoffs. I just don't think they'll be one of them.
I mean, listen, the SEC, I have been doing this all week long, and the SEC is going to be loaded, just to be honest with you. I mean, I think the top 4 teams, if you ask me right now, are Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU. That would be as far as talent-wise, but you could – there's Oklahoma's got a chance to do something that I don't think a lot of people think they can with Mateer. And you got this A&M team. You've got South Carolina that could make a move.
And I'll say this on top.
Florida could make a move.
I don't think Calzada's the 15th worst quarterback in the SEC either.
Absolutely. I do not think he's going to be 15th, Calzada. I really don't. I think he will be much better than that. I'm not going to say he's a top 5 quarterback in the SEC, not at all, because the SEC's loaded. But give me 8 to 10, somewhere in that range for Calzada this year at Kentucky.
Well, I mean, he's got weapons to work with. He's got Macklin. I think he's got, what is it? Is it Hester? Is Hester still coming?
Yeah, from
Hester.
Clemson.
Wasn't he a wide receiver that kind of backed out and went to it was the kid from Louisiana Tech, wasn't it?
That was Macklin. I said it 3 times while ago.
No, there was another kid. There was another kid that committed to Kentucky and backed out and went to the pros.
Can't remember his name. I know. I
think he played for Louisiana Tech.
Oh boy, what's his name?
You're talking about the guy. He didn't back out. He's not eligible. He didn't get eligibility.
Yeah. He didn't get eligibility?
Yeah, it was eligibility.
Yeah, it was eligibility, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember the kid's name now, but I know who you're talking about.
I think it's Edwards, right?
Yeah, it was Edwards. It was True Edwards.
Maybe.
I think it was him. Yeah.
True Edwards. Yep.
Yeah. But like I was saying, they added Hester. They got Macklin back. Kendrick Law. Kendrick Law is going to be a dangerous weapon for them. He saw some time at Alabama. And I'm going to tell you something. Zach Calzada likes to sling it. We saw that when he was at A&M. He loves to sling it.
He's a good passer. I mean, he likes to sling it. He does.
He ain't afraid to throw it now.
All right, guys. Nick and Will, I appreciate you coming on. And I will finish up talking about Stadium Rant and a few other things here. But before I do, our next shows with me and John starting on Friday, August 1st. We're going to take another couple of weeks off here at the end of July. We always take a little bit of break in summertime. We're going to take 2 more weeks off, but starting August 1st, we will begin our college football power conference previews. Each week on Friday, we will choose another one of the power conferences on August 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd. Before week 0, we will get those in on Fridays and do our power conference previews. Will, if you want to join us for one, Nick, if you want to join us for one, just let us know. But for our fans, I want to get that in. That is going to be our next show.
And August 22nd, Kentucky high school football will be back.
That's good.
Yep.
And also, well, Nick wasn't on the show the other day, so I say this only jokingly. We're not going to live stream Vandy in Hawaii at midnight either.
No, absolutely not. All right, if you're with us and you're looking for some really cool retro vintage licensed premium gear, go to homefieldapparel.com. Please use our code CSCast for a 15% discount if you are a first-time buyer. There's over 180 teams to choose from, and they have some really cool retro logos, mascots, throwback jerseys, all kinds of stuff. You will love it. Check them out at homefieldapparel.com.
Brad, you got to tell Nick the story though, like, because he'll be out of the loop if you don't tell him what really happened about that.
We'll do that after. If he wants to hang around after, I'm trying to.
I'll hang around after. Why not?
Yeah, if he wants to finish up after. So real quick, we are on the Real Fresh channel. We have been on the Real Fresh channel live streaming all week with this Summer Series show, and I appreciate Howie Fresh for letting us do that. He is on our channel on Tuesday nights for Facebook. These guys are from Stadium Rant. Please go to the Real Fresh channel and Stadium Rant, like, subscribe at these channels. Stadium Rant has a large, and I mean large, array of sports shows and content. I don't know. I haven't kept up with it. There's 10 or 12 of them. I'm not real sure. But you can get fantasy, sports betting, wrestling, pro, football, basketball, you name it. Stadium Rant has it.
Hey, John North. I hope you're doing good, man.
Yeah. So Nick, real quick, Stadium Rant, go.
I'll let you take this, Nick.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay. So at Stadium Rant, I normally cover pro wrestling. If you have not watched it, me and Will are on the Ringside Rant podcast, which is on live on YouTube at 8:00 p.m. Eastern time. We also go live every single Monday Night Raw to live react. We go live every single Wednesday to live react to AEW Dynamite and every single pay-per-view for WWE and AEW.
All right. And there's lots of other shows, large array of shows at Stadium Rant on YouTube channel. Check them out. We appreciate Stadium Rant and these guys joining us. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and X. Also, go to stadiumrant.com. Check out all the articles. We have lots and lots of people writing with Stadium Rant, so check them out as well. One quick thing. Go to our Bet Us link. It's bit.ly Real Fresh Bet Us. Go there. You can get deposit money. I think it's 3 times 125% for your first 3 deposits. Sports betting is a real thing. Lots of people are doing it. Get some free money. Use our code, our link right there for sports bets. It's Real Fresh, but Bet Us, bit.ly. All right. Again, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, and I appreciate you guys being on. The last thing I want to put up and show is our next show starting August 1st, Friday night. We will be back weekly starting Friday night, August 1st. After the 22nd, the season begins, and we will start our normal Tuesday, Friday shows.
Game day
after the 22nd. Our Big Fuss show and the Game Day Pick'ems on Tuesday, Friday. After the 22nd,
both
we will
great
begin.
shows. I watch them every week.
We will begin our normal shows after August 22nd. So starting August 1st, we will be back for Friday nights. Gives us, John, 2 more weeks to kind of kick back and enjoy some summer.
It's getting to the edge of the ending.
Yep. So, guys, I appreciate it. It has been a fun week. I love covering SEC football media days. My goal is to be there one day. I saw Jacob Davis there this time this week. It was really cool to see him. Going to give him a shout out. He's now with SI.
Another quick. I was going to tell you, we also cover the SEC media days for the men's basketball, so that will be coming up pretty soon too.
Yep. Yeah, I did get to go to the basketball one last year, hoping to go back this year. So my goal is to get to the SEC football media days, working towards that. But so Jacob Davis has been a guest on our show a couple of times, and somebody that's been on our show was at SEC media days that started his own thing. So just wanted to throw that out and give him a shout out. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
Jacob's
We will
dude.
see you guys in a couple of weeks, and y'all have a good night. We will see you for our first conference preview, August 1st. Have a good one, guys.